Watch, Aryna Sabalenka funnily curses out her team after Australian Open final loss. Aryna Sabalenka tried to keep it light following an Australian Open final defeat, funnily cursing out her team and joking that they were trying to avoid her. For the second year in a row, the Belarusian tennis star fell just short of winning the Happy Slam. This time, it was Aryna Sabalenka who overcame the world number 1 in a 3-set final at Melbourne Park after registering a 6-4, 4-6, 6-4 win. Last year, Sabalenka was bidding to write history by pulling off an Australian Open three-peat. It didn't happen after Madison Keys edged out the 2023 and 2024 Melbourne champions 6-3, 2-6, 7-5. Now they try to avoid and escape me because they see that it's not really healthy to be around me right now, the world number 1 jokingly stated. Sabalenka to her team. During her post-final press conference, Sabalenka was asked when she planned to debrief with the team about what happened in the Australian Open final versus Rybakina. "I don't know," the 27-year-old responded before turning to her team and asking, "When?" The Belarusian then funnily continued, "Today? Oh, maybe in a week. Or maybe in few days. Whenever I feel like, okay, I can move on from this one." For Sabalenka, the toughest pill to swallow about this year's final is certainly the fact that she held a 3-0 lead in the deciding set before collapsing, dropping the next 5 games, and ultimately the match. Between 2023 and 2024, the Belarusian went 3-4 in her Grand Slam final matches. Since the start of 2025, she has won only one of last 4 major title matches. If there is one thing that can make Sabalenka's Australian Open final loss better, it would be winning a maiden French Open title. The hilarious emotional roller coaster of Aryna Sabalenka after the Australian Open final. If you've ever both loved and feared someone's honesty, someone who wears their heart louder than their racket, then Aryna Sabalenka's post-final moment at the 2026 Australian Open was peak Sabalenka energy. Please fasten your creative seatbelt. 1. The stage, Rod Laver Arena, emotions unleashed. The Australian Open final was a feast of athletic excellence, and when the final point was over, Aryna Rybakina emerged the champion in 3 sets, 6-4, 4-6, 6-4. It was a brilliant performance by Rybakina, a precise, calm and tactical display that proved unstoppable at the key moments. Yet for Aryna Sabalenka, the world number 1, twice Australian Open champion, 2023 and 2024, this was heartbreak with a side of raw emotional spice. Sabalenka, known for her powerful ground strokes and fierce competitive spirit, wasn't just losing in the final, she was feeling every inch of it. From hiding her face under her towel to briefly shedding tears, her emotional journey in that moment was anything but composed. But that's not where the story ends. Oh no. It was about to get very, very Sabalenka. 2. Press conference. From tears to giggles, in seconds. Picture this, world's best tennis player, freshly defeated in a Grand Slam final, sitting down for media questions, visibly emotional, all nerves and vulnerability. Some athletes answer with measured grace, others retreat into silence. Sabalenka? She cracked a bit of everything at once. According to reports, Sabalenka described her feelings as laughing and crying, not exactly the emotional clarity most professionals aim for, but undeniably human and perhaps the most relatable thing ever said after a sporting loss. Journalists asked the classic post-final question, "When are you going to sit down with your team and break down the match?" Sabalenka's reaction, unfiltered, unvarnished, and hilariously honest, went viral. With a heavy sigh, she turned to someone at her table, likely part of her team, and without missing a beat declared, "Today? Oh, the asterisk you know." Cue laughter from the press room. Classic Sabalenka, part disdain, part comedy, part defeat, all honesty. 3. Dysfunction or just love? The Sabalenka way of team banter. Let's unpack this a bit. Was she really mad at her team? At face value, a world number 1 telling her own camp to F off doesn't sound very supportive. But there's something very clever going on here. It's a mix of emotional exhaustion, humor, and bonding. Sabalenka's joke wasn't meant to burn bridges. It was relief through ridiculousness. When you're gutted after a big loss, sometimes the best response is sheer absurdity. Laughing can be a survival tactic, and in sport, where stakes are emotionally enormous, athletes sometimes defuse tension with humor. Sabalenka's comment wasn't hostility, it was an instinctive venting moment that doubled as comedy gold. And let's be honest, a top-level athlete has probably earned the right to be a tiny bit cheeky with the people who chose to work with her in the first place. 4. The human side of a champion, laughing through pain. One of the most striking parts of Sabalenka's reaction wasn't her curse, it was the laughter that followed it. She didn't storm off stage in silence. She laughed. And again. That oscillation between laughter and sadness is what made the moment memorable. Here was a player whose competitive fire burns so hot that even loss doesn't extinguish her spirit, it just sparks a weirdly funny emotional performance. Consider this. She cried. She laughed. She cursed, in a funny way. And then she emotionally affirmed she'd come back stronger. That's not a meltdown, that's a multi-act emotional miniseries in one press conference. It's almost cinematic. 5. Sports Psychology 101. Why this resonated? From a psychological perspective, Sabalenka's public moment is fascinating. Small blue diamond catharsis through humor. Cursing playfully isn't aggression, it's a release valve. After a match where every point was fought with Herculean intensity, she wasn't ready for analytical debriefing. She needed comedy. Small blue diamond emotional honesty over sportsmanlike platitudes. Most athletes deliver the same, "We'll review tapes tomorrow" answers. Sabalenka ripped up the script. That raw honesty resonates, because on some level, we've all wanted to say things we shouldn't in moments of loss. Small blue diamond relatability over perfection. Elite athletes are often seen as emotionally invincible. Sabalenka shattered that illusion, and in doing so reminded everyone that champions hurt too. Then they curse a bit. Then they laugh. And yes, that makes them more human, not less. 6. The aftermath. A meme, a moment, a legacy. The instant that quote hit the internet, reactions exploded. Microphone sports fans tagged the clip everywhere. Face with tears of joy meme accounts turned it into GIFs. Tennis purists chuckled while debating sports psychology. But beneath it all, there was a certain admiration. Because Sabalenka didn't pretend everything was fine. In a world where athletes are often coached to hide frustration or wear constant optimism, she chose something real. And that, awkward as it was, made headlines not because she cursed, but because she dared to feel. Her moment didn't diminish her legacy, it expanded it. 7. Not just a gaffe, a reflection of passion. Let's be clear, Sabalenka's comment wasn't malicious. It wasn't disrespectful in a serious way. It was spontaneous, authentic, interpersonal, like something you might hear between friends when emotions are high. This wasn't a flame war tweet. This was the internal language of someone who pours her heart into her sport. She followed the joke with more traditional reflections.